With its humble beginnings as a wee little chick, this Pokemon has emerged a symbol and ambassador of fire-type Mons. Boasting fiery red plumage, incredibly strong legs, and an amazing combat ability, it can hold its own against any powerful rival. And it can win the hearts of all Pokemon fans across the globe. Welcome, Blaziken. So Blaziken's journey begins as the big-headed, stubby-winged, unsure-footed Torchic. These Pokemon tend to be devoted and very dependent on their trainers. Typically, they will follow their trainers, walking around, exploring, tailing them very closely everywhere and anywhere they go. Especially at night, we learn that Torchic are quite afraid of the dark, even though they can light up the darkness with their fire. They're very scared of the dark. And usually, this isn't a problem because they're so cuddly. Torchic are very cuddly. And their trainers have no issues cuddling with them because when you hold on to a Torchic, it is so warm. It's like you're pulling out a blanket from the dryer. It's so warm and cuddly. And, of course, it doesn't help that Torchic is absolutely adorable. I mean, seriously, look at this thing. Who wouldn't want to cuddle with a Torchic? But the reason this Pokemon feels so warm is due to having a literal fireball, or fire sac, burning in its belly. As long as Torchic is alive, as long as Torchic draws breath, this fire sac will constantly burn, and it gives it the ability to expel orbs of fire that can reach temperatures of 1800 degrees, burning anything that it comes into contact with. While typically rare in nature, like every other Pokemon that I've mentioned, I mean, I really don't understand why every single Pokemon is rare to find. I digress. They are rare in nature, but they have been spotted more and more in the terrarium of Blueberry Academy. Once it evolves into Combuskin at level 16, it immediately starts training its legs, because it finally has legs. It goes from these tiny things to actually having legs, but it does leg day every day, twice a day, training from dawn till dusk. Keeping its body in top condition is a must. Now, as it trains, it will let out distinct screams, waking up Pokemon and people alike, letting them know that it will be supreme. Additionally, the scream can be used as an intimidation technique against its opponents. Now, in order to train, it will run through grasslands, it will scale mountains, and always practice its kicking form. This hard work pays off, as it gains the ability to throw 10 kicks in succession in 1 second. Imagine that, 10 kicks in 1 second. Now, similar to Torchic, Combuskin also has this fire sac within the core of its body, and this fire sac grows more and more intense the more Combuskin trains, obviously, right? So these flames and these kicks make Combuskin a very formidable foe, and it will refuse to give up a fight until that opponent is exhausted or knocked out. It's even been said in ancient times and older times that people would actually gather around and watch two Combuskin train because of how incredible their training sessions are. Now, after countless kicks, countless fights, sprints, jumps, or reaching level 36 in the game, we finally see the Kung Fu Chicken, Blaziken. Now, Blaziken is equipped with blazing fast kicks, obviously. It has the ability to scale a 30-story building in just one leap. As well, it can use its flames that surround its wrists and its knuckles to pummel its enemies. It also has flames surrounding its ankles. And what it can do is use these flames as a cloak to cover their kicks and their punches when it's fighting its opponent. A mechanism that Blaziken uses to regulate its body temperature, as it's always using its flames, is with its feathers. So every few years, these feathers burn up due to the repeated exposure of Blaziken's flames. And when this occurs, Blaziken has to rest and recover. It is paramount that Blaziken does this so it can regrow these feathers, because that's the only way it can regulate its body temperature. Without the feathers, it can easily overheat and even cause serious damage to itself. Now, with its expertise in martial arts training, with the ability to harness firepower, and with its strong legs, Blaziken only becomes stronger and stronger when fighting against, let's say, high-level opponents, and will actually push itself to become stronger when it fights against stronger opponents. However, when pushed to the absolute limit, Blaziken can and does Mega Evolve. In this form, its already powerful kicks become a level beyond. It can unleash a flurry of kicks so fast that it can actually burn itself from the friction with the surrounding atmosphere. And as Mega Blaziken's body temperature increases, so does its power and so does its speed. Now, with this power and the ability of speed boost, which most Blaziken will run, even regular Blaziken, it finds itself pretty safely nestled into the Uber's tier. Get that. Blaziken is in the Uber's tier. So it uses that speed, it uses that power to literally punch holes into the opponent's team, because it is fairly frail. So you do want to make sure that it is properly surrounded by helpful Pokemon. Now, an interesting fact about the entire evolution line is that in each of its stages, the male and female Pokemon have different characteristics, even if they're small variations. Starting with male Torchic, the male Torchic will actually have a black speck right where the booty hole should be, whereas the female Torchic don't have that. The male Combusken is equipped with larger head feathers than the females, and this is presumably for intimidation and also for mating purposes. And then finally, Blaziken have larger facial V-crests, as well as their hair strands back here are larger than their female counterpart. Now, Blaziken itself, along with Torchic and Combusken, are heavily based on rooster or cockfighting, more specifically the Japanese Shamo chicken, which this breed in particular is known for its mane and for the ability to have an upright posture. The feathery legs resemble those of the Cochin chicken, and it also bears resemblance to Horus and Ra, which are two anthropomorphic ancient Egyptian deities with falcon heads. Blaziken may also be based on the Basan, which is a legendary fire-breathing chicken in Japanese folklore, and possibly the Karkura. It is somewhat based on the mythical phoenix, which we can see, right? There's a lot of resemblances to the phoenix, as its feathers burn off for every couple years and can grow back just like the phoenix. And it may also draw inspiration from the Taimatsu Maru. And these are going to be creatures that resemble or look a lot like raptors or tengu. Its fighting type and human-like body draws inspiration from Muay Thai fighters. Blaziken's official artwork depicts a typical flying knee, as we've seen, and then Mega Blaziken's stance is a portrayal of a leg kick or a leg check. If you've ever seen that in MMA, where you lift your leg up to check a kick, that's very, very resemblant of what Mega Blaziken's stance looks like. Now, the name origin, there's a lot of cool stuff with the origins of Blaziken's name. Now, very basically, obviously we have Blaze and we have chicken in there. We also have Blazing, which is an extension of Blaze and chicken. Now, the Ken, K-E-N, it's a name that may also come from the kanji, meaning fist, which can be read as Ken. This is also the etymology of the Street Fighter series character, Ken. And this character could potentially be part of Blaziken's etymology. Both are fighters, right? Both are fire. They can use fire. And this sort of connection here is backed up by the fact that Blaziken has several moves in the Pokken tournament, that game that where it throws fireballs, similar to Ken's Hadouken, and it also has the move Sky Uppercut, which is a great move, which is very similar to Ken's Shoryuken, and then it can do the spinning kick. And Ken has the Tatsumaki Senpu Kyaku or something. I don't know how to say it, but they all have very similar moves, which is pretty awesome. The Japanese name for Blaziken, which is Burziamo. This may be a combination of burn or burst as well as shamo. And that is the history, lore, facts of Blaziken. Please let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. Also, let me know if you learned anything new, if you enjoyed the video. Also, leave down in the comments the next Pokemon you'd like me to do next, as well as check out some of our other Pokemon origin and lore videos, as well as our Pokemon opening videos. In addition to leaving a like and commenting and subscribing, check out M&A Anime for our reactions, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Peace.